Okay, so the one thing that those people who are embracing AI and bringing it into the workplace, they're finding ways to be able to train themselves, to be able to learn how to use this, whereas companies on an institutional basis are not necessarily teaching their employees at this stage. That will come in the future, no doubt. So how are those employees training themselves and teaching themselves to actually incorporate AI into the workplace?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see from the data that it spans kind of cross age groups in the workforce. It's not just the younger people, it's all generations at work, kind of experimenting and upskilling with AI. And interestingly, some of the LinkedIn data shows us that an increase of 142% of LinkedIn members are now posting AI skills and AI-related learning to their profiles. So they are taking it upon themselves to upskill. And I think employers, in some cases, are bringing skilling into the workforce here. But interestingly, this data shows us that, in fact, only close to 40% of employers are investing in this space. So those of us that go to work every day are upskilling ourselves.
So does that sense that maybe chief executives who may be a little older, or boards who also might be a little older or a little more conservative, perhaps haven't just embraced this change as quickly as they ought to have, or indeed have not understood it, or are perhaps even trying to assess the potential risks of what happens if we open up to this artificial intelligence?
I don't see it as age-related, but more as business leaders looking for that return on investment when they think about implementing AI across their workforce. And what we're seeing is a slight disconnect where employees are hungry for it and going after it themselves, whilst business leaders are busy focusing on kind of organisational-wide impact. And rightly so, that's an important measure to think about.
But this actually goes straight back to the way in which the internet was incorporated. I mean, everybody understood that there was going to be a revolution caused by the internet when it was, but it was individuals who embraced it, not organisations. They said there was no money to be made out of the internet, as I recall. Mobile telecommunications, exactly the same type of thing. It was suddenly used as a tool by aggressive salespeople wanting to be mobile, wanting to get out there, you know, as quickly and as immediately as they possibly could. It's got some similarities in the way in which other technology has previously been rolled out.
There's a cultural imperative for organisations here to really embrace. Organisations that are change ready and supportive of their workforce being experimental in this space are those that are clearly going to get ahead. Those that are focusing on skilling by role, by function of AI for their workforce, they are absolutely the ones that are going to get ahead.
And yet the interesting thing is, let's go back to that productivity case. Because if all of a sudden a person is freed up from doing certain tasks, it means they have more time to do other tasks, or maybe more time for leisure or whatever it might be. This is actually also a part of where productivity starts to be driven. So is the sense, because with other technology, it's actually meant we've just got more emails and more to do. It's not less to do. What's your own sense? What do people feel when you start to press them on whether they're going to be busier or less busy as a result of AI being incorporated?
I think the thing I love about Copilot for Microsoft 365 is that it keeps the human at the centre of the AI. So the human is the one giving the instruction. So it enables you to talk to your AI companion as if it was a colleague by your desk, and to give instruction or ask questions to alleviate some tasks. And I think that's something to be really excited about.
Okay, because almost the same thing happened with search, with Bing, with, say, Google. When that came out, that revolutionised it because it literally gave a person another brain. But what you're saying here is, yes, you've got the brain, but the brain doesn't just give you an answer. It can actually create and do things for you.
Absolutely, it can, yeah. And I think the important thing here is, and what WTI points to, is that we have learned over the last 6 to 12 months that prompting is hard. It's the new way of talking to a computer. As you say, we're very familiar with talking to search engines. Prompting is a little bit different. It requires more context, but it keeps the human at the centre of writing that prompt and asking the Copilot to return something useful to them.
So what does your survey say about how individuals are receiving the training so that they have the knowledge to bring the AI into their workplace?
So one of the key findings from the survey is this concept of the rise of the power user. And power users are employees who are very proficient at using AI already, and they may be using it several times a week and seeing up to 30 minutes of time saving as a consequence every day. Now, power users don't achieve this status by themselves. They work for the kinds of organisations I was just talking about, where they have strong leadership support from the senior executives to really embrace and utilise this technology. They work for companies where culture is change change ready and experimental by nature. And they work for organisations that are truly invested in skilling because they see the importance of having AI aptitude in their workforce both today and into the future.
I'll tell you what, Lucy Debono, that's a fantastic subject. It's no doubt going to be something we'll come back and talk to you about again in the future. Many thanks for your time today.
Thank you.